What's happening, guys? Supernova here, back with another video. And before I get into this one, I want to once again thank my producers, aka my channel members, for making a video like this one possible. If you enjoy my content or find it in any way informative or entertaining, consider becoming a channel member. Once I hit 20 members, I'm going to be doing a game giveaway monthly for my channel members. And if I ever get to 100, I will do a console giveaway. Now look, with all the bad Xbox press in recent weeks, I could have easily made a video every other day about something negative Xbox, and I didn't want to do that just because I felt like everyone was doing it, and let's be honest, most of the people doing it kind of felt like grifters, and I'm not a fucking grifter. I really only talk about things that I actually care about or that I legitimately find interesting, and just nonstop negative Xbox headline, negative Xbox headline, negative Xbox headline kind of gets boring after a while. And again, like I said, I'm not a grifter. There's 1,000 of them out there. Let them cover that shit. But that being said, here we go. Another day, another negative Xbox headline.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And the reason why I'm deciding to cover this news is because, unlike the situation with the console price increases or the dev kit price increases or the Game Pass price increases, when I read this news, kind of like the news yesterday about how the next Xbox is going to be a super premium, probably super expensive device, I found myself saying, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, how exactly is this supposed to work? Like, okay. let's just start by reading the IGN article, because like I said, when I read this shit, I legit couldn't believe it, because again, I don't understand how something like this would work or how they would think something like this could work, because it barely works anywhere else in the industry. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I know some of you out there are like, yo, Nova, what the fuck are you talking about? Will you just get to the goddamn point? So here it is. Let me get into the article. The headline reads, Microsoft has reportedly pushed Xbox studios to deliver a 30% profit margin, allegedly leading to all those layoffs, canceled projects, price rises, and end of exclusives. And real quick, I want to point out there that the key word in that headline is allegedly, right? Because even though the reports are that this 30% profit margin demand is being thrown out there, it doesn't mean that that is the cause of the layoffs, canceled projects, price rises, and the quote-unquote end of exclusives, right? They're just saying that that's likely the reason why those things have happened. But again, that has not been confirmed. No one has come out and said that. So allegedly, this is the reason for why those things have happened. But honestly, whether or not it was the reason, to me, honestly, doesn't matter. That's not the thing that I was like, what the fuck? It was the 30% profit margin demand, period. And once I've read the article, it'll make a lot more sense to you. And I'll go into more detail as to why I was like, how the hell is this something that's going to actually work? A new report has shed light on the goings-on at Microsoft, which has allegedly pushed Xbox studios to deliver a 30% profit margin, much higher than the industry average. And it says allegedly here, but then it also says in the following sentence that Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported that Microsoft's 30% profit margin goal has led to the gaming division's huge layoffs, canceled projects, controversial price rises, and multi-platform push. And saying that this is Jason Schreier from Bloomberg, not saying he's never gotten anything wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and say he's probably reporting on something he's actually heard from someone that actually knows what the fuck's going on. That being said, still, until it's confirmed by Xbox or Microsoft, it is still alleged. The cuts to Xbox have been deep. Thousands of staff have lost their jobs over several rounds of layoffs. Games such as Rare's Everwild and the Initiative's Perfect Dark reboot were canceled after years of development. ZeniMax Online Studios' game project Blackbird was canned, leading to mass layoffs. The Initiative was also shut down. Last year, Microsoft closed Redfall developer Arcane Austin and Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks. Meanwhile, Microsoft has increased the price of the Xbox Series X and S consoles and the price of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to $29.99 a month, the latter of which was a huge controversial move. Microsoft tried to make the jump to $80 video games, but ended up reverting to $70 after fans pushed back on the idea of paying $10 more for Obsidian's The Outer Worlds 2. Most expect Microsoft to go to $80 at some point next year. Bloomberg said the average profit margin in the video game industry is 17 to 22%. Over the past 6 years, Xbox has hit 10 to 20%. To put that 30% target into more context, Sony's PlayStation division achieved a 16% profit margin in Q1 fiscal year 25. Bloomberg said Microsoft Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood enforced the new target in fall 2023, amid Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Call of Duty maker Activision Blizzard. And just so you know, that 30% is not something that is completely unheard of in gaming. There are some games that have that 30% profit margin expectation, but those are for like your big hitters, like your major money makers. Like, I expect that Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar probably have zero issue having a 30% profit margin goal for something like Grand Theft Auto 6. Because they know, just like all of us do, that Grand Theft Auto 6 isn't going to make a lot of money. It's not going to make a fuck ton of money. It's going to make all of the money, right? It's going to make metric shit tons of money, and they know that. But when Xbox themselves is only hitting 10 to 20, to then say, you know what, let's up it to 30, it seems pretty fucking insane to me. Anyway, the upshot now is, according to Bloomberg, that games that are cheap to make or considered more likely to make lots of money may take priority over riskier projects. Xbox's quote-unquote floundering hardware division, meanwhile, may face, quote, a significant rethinking. And look, that's not something that's unique to Xbox, right? Like this idea that they're only really going to be looking to put money into or invest into something that is risk averse, something that is almost guaranteed to be successful. That's the entire industry right now. Even over at PlayStation, the budgets of these games are ballooning up and ballooning up and ballooning up to be ridiculous amounts. And we're seeing that these games aren't selling as good as they used to. So yes, even at PlayStation and other big publishers, focusing on things that are almost a guarantee rather than things that may be a little bit more of a risk, this isn't something that's unique to Xbox's current strategy. IGN has reported on recent comments from Xbox President Sarah Bond, who said the next-gen Xbox console will be, quote, a very premium, very high-end curated experience, end quote. I made a whole video about that yesterday if you want to check that out. Bond also called the idea of exclusive games, quote, antiquated, which for those of you who failed English class means old or outdated. Nowadays, Xbox Game Studios is one of the most prolific and successful publishers on PlayStation. Microsoft issued Bloomberg a statement that suggested its Xbox profit margin target is not the same across every project. Now, I know I was throwing allegedly out much earlier, but if they actually did issue that statement to Bloomberg, I don't know if we can really use the word allegedly anymore. I'm not even sure why IGN uses the word allegedly if Bloomberg has a statement from Microsoft, which it looks like they're quoting right here in the next paragraph. We look at the business as a whole, balancing creativity, innovation, and sustainability across a diverse portfolio of offerings. As with any creative business, sometimes that means making hard decisions and stopping work on things that are no longer working for a variety of reasons, and shifting resources toward the projects that are more aligned with our direction and priorities. So yeah, if that's an actual quote from Microsoft to Bloomberg, why are we saying allegedly? But anyway, that's the article. And the reason why this blew my fucking mind, again, because when I heard 30%, I was like, I don't know what that means. But in reading the context of the article, knowing that Xbox currently only hits about 10 to 20, and that the industry average is like 17 to 22, how the fuck does Microsoft expect to hit 30% on any project? Really? Because you're seeing 17 to 22% across the gaming industry, which for the most part isn't in Game Pass. 16% over at PlayStation, who again isn't in Game Pass, and yet Xbox is currently at 10 to 20. How the hell do you get the profit margins to 30 when your games are in Game Pass? Because outside of something like Call of Duty or Forza Horizon, what other IP do they have that's gonna hit 30% while still being day and date in Game Pass for people at the top tier of Game Pass? I don't know what IP they have that could do that. And yes, I will again acknowledge the fact that they said that 30% isn't the target for every single game, right? Every game's going to have a different target. But to put a target of 30% on any of their games when they're only averaging between 10 and 20% seems pretty fucking crazy. But then again, so is everything that Xbox is doing as of lately, because last I heard, according to Xbox, Game Pass was profitable, yet they needed to raise the price on something that was already profitable. And not only that, but take the feature that everyone loved about Game Pass and put it in only the top tier. And listen, I'm not going to be one of these doom and gloom guys saying Xbox is dead, Xbox is over, oh my God, the Xbox is going to shut down. Those people are fucking idiots, okay? That shit's never going to happen. Regardless of the direction that Xbox decides to head in, Xbox is going to be a part of the gaming industry for a long time. How do I know that? Because they're one of the largest publishers in the entire fucking industry. They're not going anywhere. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say doom and gloom, Xbox is dead, Xbox is over. That's stupid. That being said, it is kind of weird to always hear Xbox say, yo, everything is good, everything is great, everything is wonderful, nothing to worry about here. And then they constantly keep making decisions that makes it really, really seem like things aren't okay and everything isn't all right there, right? Like these decisions that they're making don't really paint the picture of a super, super healthy, firing on all cylinders Xbox. It really doesn't. It seems like a company that doesn't really know where it's going, what direction it's heading in, that keeps trying to pivot and make adjustments because they're not picking up the ground that they thought they would pick up with the last decision that they made. I'm sure they thought when they acquired Activision Blizzard that they were either going to see a massive influx of people subscribing to Game Pass, B, a surge in consoles being sold, or C, a combination of both. And I'm pretty sure we all know none of those things happened. And look, I'll keep it real. I'm not in the board meetings over there at Microsoft, over at Xbox. I can't purport to have detailed knowledge of what their ongoing strategy is, right? I can't. Nobody can unless they are actually part of that company. But it just seems to me that as a brand, Xbox just isn't in a good place. And people can point to, oh, they made X amount of revenue last year, or oh, they had this much revenue that year. First of all, revenue isn't profit. Profit is profit. Revenue is the amount of money before you pay your bills. But even if we had detailed profit numbers, which we don't, I think we can all acknowledge that faith in Xbox as a company is at an all-time low. And of course, you know, there's going to be some Xbox super fan or fanboy that right away is going to clap back like, what are you talking about? I have nothing but faith in Xbox. And it's like, yeah, of course you do. But we're not fucking talking about you. You are a fraction of a percent of the overall gaming population. That's like being some fat, ugly motherfucker that no bitches want to fuck. And then your mom comes out and says, oh, what are you talking about, honey? I think you're handsome. And it's like, well, no shit. Of course you do. You're my mother. You fucking made me. You don't fucking count. Of course you do. You don't fucking count, Mom. That's what this is, okay? If some fucking Xbox shill, Xbox fan, Xbox super fan, fanboy wants to be like, oh, well, I have all the faith in the world in Xbox. Of course you do. We're not fucking talking about you. We're talking about everybody fucking else. The other fucking 90% of the gaming industry. They don't seem to have faith in Xbox right now. Regardless of whatever profits or revenues they're making, I don't think that shit matters. It seems that gamers overall, the Xbox fucking dudes excluded, seem to have lost faith in Xbox as a company and see diminishing values in the Xbox brand. And before anyone tries to hit me with the whataboutism when it comes to shit over in PlayStation Land, yeah, shit over in PlayStation Land isn't fucking fantastic either, okay? But this video isn't about the what goings-ons over in PlayStation Land, okay? And if you want to ask me why not, well, because IGN didn't just fucking write an article talking about the what goings-ons over in PlayStation Land. That being said, for whatever issues that are happening over there, which there are several, gamers' faith in that company and that brand, in its studios and its games, is just in a much better place than it is with Xbox. That's just the truth of it. To what degree is it better? I don't know. I'm not going to break down the fucking math. All I can tell you is that it just is better. Xbox is just in a bad spot right now. And it really doesn't even matter what it does in terms of games, right? Because even if they start releasing banger games, which is what we expect from these companies, when they're releasing the banger games on their competition's hardware, it doesn't really do much to increase the perception of the value of that brand. If they were exclusives and they were releasing banger exclusives, must-have exclusives, that would accomplish that goal. But as we've seen, and clearly according to Sarah Bond, that is an antiquated model. That's Flintstones shit. Exclusives is Flintstones shit, and Xbox isn't about Flintstones shit. So even if they were releasing banger game after banger game after banger game, when you can get them on other platforms, it doesn't achieve any type of increase in the perceived value of the Xbox brand. It's just the reality of the situation. So at this point, I honestly don't know what they could do in order to really fix that. I mean, there really is only one thing, and that is to go full third party and just release their games on every platform that will play their games, which is honestly something I think they will be doing and have said they were going to do years ago. I was saying that that's what they were going to do. This is the road they were heading down during the Xbox One generation when they were having problems moving hardware and software. It just seemed like the logical solution. If you're having issues selling hardware, that means you're going to have issues selling software. And we all know that these companies make almost all their money on the software end, not the hardware end. So if you're having trouble moving the thing that's making you the most money, the hard solution is trying to figure out a way to make your hardware so appealing that it starts flying off shelves again. The easy solution is to just take your software and put it everywhere. Let everyone who wants to buy your game buy your game. Doesn't matter where they play. That's why I've always said that full third party is the ultimate goal for Xbox. And I theorize, again, this is just my theory. I have no actual data or facts to back this up. My theory is that they would have done this years ago if they weren't worried about the backlash that they would have received from the Xbox fan base. It's kind of that whole you don't throw a frog in boiling water, but you just slowly increase the temperature of the water type deal, right? If they would just flat out said, oh, well, Xbox One's the last generation, guys, but guess what? Going forward, full third party, you can buy our games everywhere. The Xbox fan base would have lost its fucking mind. But when you start with just 4 games, guys, playing a corporate game of just the tip, right? Like, oh, just the tip, baby. No, I promise, no more. Not an inch more, baby. Just the tip. We all know, us guys know, just the tip is never just the fucking tip. It's never the tip. It's the tip for all of about like a half a second, and then it's bam to the base, bitch, right? It's never just the tip. But Xbox was like, yo, just the tip, guys. And now here we are 3 inches later and like, but hey, listen, it's just the tip and 3 inches, guys. It's not like we're giving you the whole dick. Just the tip in 3 inches. There's still some dick that we're not going to stick in you. But yeah, man, like I said, the shit with Xbox right now is crazy. I don't understand any of the decisions they're making. When I sit back and just try to look at these decisions from a logical perspective, they still don't make any sense logically to me. And again, admittedly, I'm not in the boardrooms. I'm not in their meetings. I don't know the details of their strategy. For all I know, they've got some crazy 20-point PowerPoint presentation of the exact strategy that they have, and it's going 100% to plan, and we're just on like phase 3 of that plan. I have no fucking clue. I'm just saying that for me, when I take a step back and I look at Xbox overall and the decisions they're making and the things that they're doing, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But that's me. Like I said, for all we know, this has always been the plan, and everything is going exactly according to the plans that they have laid out from years ago, for all we know. But yeah, long story short, because I went off on a huge tangent, this 30% profit margin shit, it just seems a little out of control. But hey, what the fuck do I know? I'm just some regular guy that makes YouTube videos on a computer in his house. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys on this one. And that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, or even consider becoming a channel member. And I'll catch you guys on the next Supernova.